It's time for some real talk about the Apple Watch, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the good. The Apple Watch excels as a remote control, and no app shows that off better than the Remote app. It's just as easy to navigate as the Remote app on your iPhone, but so much more convenient because it's strapped to your wrist. For me, driving time is podcast time, but I hate how turn-by-turn navigation keeps interrupting my podcast to tell me when I need to turn. The Apple Watch solves this beautifully. It just taps on your wrist when you have to turn. There's 10 taps when you need to go right, 6 taps in 3 pairs when you need to go left. That way you can turn off the voice directions on your iPhone and you still know when to turn, and your music or your podcast never stops. I've used a few different activity trackers, but none of them have motivated me to work towards my fitness goals quite like the Activity app on my Apple Watch. The Activity app gives you 3 goals to work towards every day. The red move ring counts just your general activity going towards a calorie goal. The green ring is for exercise minutes, and that's vigorous exercise only. If you log a workout but your heart rate isn't high enough, it'll count it as move minutes instead of exercise minutes. The third one is the stand ring. That wants you to stand for at least 1 minute out of each hour, 12 hours out of the day. When you get close to finishing one of those rings, the watch will remind you, look, you're almost at your goal, keep going. I find those a lot harder to ignore since they're right on my wrist than I would if the same alert came to my iPhone. At the end of the day, the watch is pushing me to be more active, and it's working. Okay, what about the bad? The Apple Watch is so slow. It lets you perform a few tasks right from your wrist, like setting a timer, checking the weather, or answering a text message. Those seem like convenient time savers, but by the time you watch the watch grind through each of those steps, you'll wonder why you didn't just pull out your phone and do it the fast way. Siri can be a little hit or miss on the Apple Watch too. There's 2 ways to get Siri to work. Pressing and holding the digital crown works every time, totally reliable. The other thing you can do is raise your wrist and say, "Hey Siri." If you do that, try launching into your query right away. "Hey Siri, what time is it in Barcelona?" If you pause after "Hey Siri," sometimes she'll start trying to process your query already, but all you said was "Hey Siri," so there's just a delay before she realizes that you didn't say anything and then she asks you what you want. And then there's the home screen clutter. You know that folder you have on your iPhone of all the built-in apps that you can't delete but you're never going to use, like Stocks and Compass? Some of those apps are on the Apple Watch too, but it doesn't support folders. And you can't delete the apps from your Apple Watch home screen either. So those little icons are going to sit there whether you use those apps or not. You can't hide them, you can't delete them. All you can do is push them towards the edge of your home screen and try to ignore them. And now for the ugly. Just kidding, this thing isn't ugly at all. Sure, it's a little bit thick, and I do like the circular look of some of the newer Android Wear watches, but Apple doesn't do ugly, and the Apple Watch is gorgeous. It's been turning heads ever since I got it. The Apple Watch is a beautiful smartwatch, and it does everything it set out to do. Smartwatches as a category are still very extra and non-essential, and Apple fans have a lot of shiny, expensive gadgets competing for our technology dollars. The Apple Watch still feels pretty first generation, so if you're still on the fence, you might want to wait.